In this video, we're going to install the external application development template on a secure web server and create an external application form on our FirstClass server pointing to this application. We'll launch the application and check out how it functions and what is going on behind the scenes. We have internet services running on this FirstClass installation, and it too has a secure certificate installed, so we can simply upload our complete template folder to our website folder. Inside Internet Services, www main site folder, I have a folder called External App Source, where I'm going to upload all of my external web apps that I want to run from this server. You can see I already have some there. A simple drag and drop from my desktop uploads the entire content to this folder. We can now create the form in our External Applications folder. I'll just call it Template and make it available to all users for this test. I'll upload the provided icon.png as the icon to be used for this application. On the Configuration tab, I'll choose Center Pane so as not to have to worry about dimensions. I'm also going to enter some information in the configuration field, as the template source is going to read this information. Let's enter the words template configuration string. In the body of the message, I'll enter the iframe code that will point to this application. Iframe width equals 100%, height equals 100%, and the source HTTPS pointing to codeathonweb.firstclass.com, the external app source folder, and the name of the application inside there, external app template. And I'll close off my iframe tag and then save and close the form. Before we log in as a user to test out this application, I want to show you a bit of what goes on behind the scenes. I'm going to log in as Joe Schmo to test this out, so what I want to do first is to look at Joe Schmo's desktop while logged in as the administrator. We see that he has a folder called External Applications, and this is hidden from his view and only available to the administrator through the Open Desktop functionality. If I open this folder, I see only 2 documents, but we know that he has many more external applications available to him, and we ran them in the first video. As it turns out, a corresponding document is created only if the external application is configured to save data, and our template does so. So we will return here after launching the application. Logged in now as Joe Schmo, we launch the application and see how the application works. When I launch the application, it first tells me that this is the first launch and then displays the configuration string that we entered on our form, followed by 2 strings that are supposedly coming from data storage related to this form. Next, it presents information about me that it has retrieved from the session data for me as the logged in user. We are then asked to enter a new value for this storage field, and then again for the second field, and then it writes the data back to the page. What is happening in the background is that the data is getting stored back in the application, so if we close and launch the application again, these new entries should appear as our storage field data. Since I ran this application in the center pane, I first have to remove it from the recent places because it's cached and is still loaded. Launching it again, we see that it knows that this is not a first launch, and we also note that the data submitted in the last application launch was saved and is now retrieved from the storage fields. Let's return to the desktop client and see what has happened to Joe Schmo's External Applications folder. We see that there is now a new file called Template, the name of our application, and bound to this form is the data that was stored. But how can we see it? If I expose the envelope, I don't see that data anywhere. It turns out that the data is stored but not visible. In the next video, we'll go through the code behind the application and review how the data fields are created, retrieved, and stored, and how we can access the user information data. But I'd really like to see any stored data during the development process. The document form used for the external application is just the document form ID 96, and you could use the FirstClass Designer application to add fields to the message envelope. You'll learn that the data storage fields are any field in the range of 10,000 to 10,999. I've modified this form by adding these three fields and uploaded my custom form to my desktop here on the administrator's desktop. By double-clicking on it, I'm asked if I want to update my logged-in settings file, and it will override the form ID with this custom form. Now, when I open that form and reveal the envelope, I see my new entries were added to the form fields 10,000 and 10,001. In the next video, we'll walk through that application code showing you how the default data was set, how we retrieve data, and how to update it and store it for a future session. In the final video of this series, we'll use the template to build a simple application.